can talk about the ways that they promote the common welfare of the island. We all did. So we have the Vashon Chamber of Commerce, the director, Jim Marsh. We have Emma Amia, the Social Service Network, and Sonika, who is
Hello.
does the.
It works.
There we go. Thank you. The Vashon Women in Rock Vigil, which is nonviolent resistance, and she's also a longtime activist for social change. So, I guess we can. Does everybody want to kind of go around and say what they thought of the film, something that struck them of the film, and then I'll have our speakers say what they do to promote the common welfare of the island? Anybody want to start? I do. Okay.
That was fantastic. What a wonderful bridge that man was, and what desperate need our society has for bridges, where you're connecting people's in disparate places. It's so impressive. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, my name's Earth Song. I'm a longtime islander, and I'm of the age that was alive during a lot of these demonstrations and this struggle. I really respect this man, that he could bring different parts of society together. We have that same problem these days, I think, because we think of us and them. But I believe that we are all one. We're all children of this great universe or divinity, however you want to put it, that we are in this mess together. And we can make less of a mess and more of a beautiful place the more we recognize that we are a part of one another and that we need to help one another and try to understand one another. And that means rich and poor, and yes, Republican and Democrat. If we don't talk with one another and other beliefs and politics, if we just keep looking at each other as enemies, that's the way it's going to stay. And so I just hope we can grow more love.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to turn the mic over to Jim Marsh, Director of the Chamber of Commerce. I was going Powerbroker. One of the few. Talk about how you promote economic opportunity for all.
I thought it was interesting. Hi, I'm Jim Marsh. How y'all doing? I'm the exec director of the Chamber of Commerce. And does everybody know what the Chamber of Commerce is? Okay, when I grew up, I thought it was just where the big-bellied white guys went, and they made tea times, and they figured out how to oppress the masses. So that gives you an idea of what I went into it. And I think when I say what my job is, people kind of look at me like, oh, you're the voice of business. I think in a lot of places that might have some connotations that I wouldn't agree with, but I'm Vashon. So in watching Whitney Young there, I see that line that he had to draw between, what he knew, kind of what Martin stood for, like this is right, and what he knew could get done, I think about that in terms of a lot of our chambers of commerce are supported by banks, right? How many here do not use a bank at all? So you don't use a bank at all? Credit union, okay, all right, financial institution. Which, as we know, we kind of are in, some economic trouble because of banks. But, you look at the banks, and I use a bank, and everyone else uses a bank, and when I bought a house, I did that, and as long as we're doing it right, not living beyond our means, it works. So, you can't demonize an industry. So you have to kind of work that line between, what is the system and what is your ideals. And I think it takes a lot of courage to have your feet in both worlds. I think both worlds need each other. I think, we need the people saying this isn't right and let's look at it. And we need the people saying, okay, well, how do we make it happen? How do we make it work? I also thought it was interesting that what power is, and I think Whitney really articulated it in his life's work. And power is the ability to move resources to get things that you want done. And I think that could be people resources. I think that could be, that's economic resources. I think it's interesting that the person that gave him the most money was one of our most conservative presidents, right? Yeah, it's just mind-blowing. But if he hadn't been working that and taking all that heat for being an Uncle Tom or being the guy in both worlds, he would have never been able to have that conversation with him. So that's just, I don't know what I'm going on about. Janet just asked me to talk. When I think about, I guess tied into the island, right? Okay. Well, actually, this comes from a conversation I was having with Janet. We just kind of met sitting. We did one of those things that's very Vashon, where you're having a meal and you overhear somebody, and then all of a sudden you start talking to them, and then now you've got a friend. I was trying to convince her to come help volunteer at the chamber office, and she was a little hesitant about it. And so I started saying, well, this is the Vashon chamber. I mean, look at the guy that runs the insurance company. He's actually a really good blues musician. And Emma, one of our top realtors. If you've read her, I'm a huge fan of your columns and the things. I mean, she's kind of kick-ass about telling the truth. And she's doing that in her job, and she probably does that in other parts of her world. You look at how people at the Thriftway are treated as employees. You look at what the guy at Island Market's trying to do. You look at what people at Minglement do. These are all the things that we like about the island. They're all people that are running a business. And yeah, you can't go in and get your coffee for free all the time, but you can't. But people do you a good turn. So I was talking about how we all want to do good work, and whether that's marching or whether that's cleaning carpets. We all a place for that, and hopefully you do that with everyone's kind of love in mind. It's hard to believe cleaning carpets could be something loving, but if you've ever talked to Sonny at CFM, he will make you understand the joy that is carpeting. So anyway, that's kind of what I think about when I think about our business community, and why I'm involved with it and why I'm excited about it and why this is a cool place. I think if you were to take a town of this size anywhere else in America that didn't have a moat, what would probably happen? There'd be a Walmart 2 towns over, all of our business would be closed, and there'd be a prison 1 town over where we would all work or be living. Sorry, I don't mean to be, but look at some of rural America, that's what's happening. So with that, I'll shut up. Thank you.
I'd like to say one more thing.
Oh, sure.
I'd like to add that I also really respect the counterculture type people who lay it on the line, because there has to be voices like that go, at the edge. I'm a big fan of guerrilla theater, for instance, and I'd love to see some more of that.
Well, some of your dreams might be answered. We got Adrian Xavier here. He will sing the song Social Consciousness.
All right.
Would you like to speak about the Social Service Network?
Well, in reflecting on that film, the Social Service Network is an organization of all of the heads of all the social service providers here on the island. And we meet regularly and discuss ways that we can combine our power, our money, our volunteers, our energy, our intellects to solve the economic problems and mental health problems and other social service problems on the island. And I think in relationship to this film, what it makes me think of, and it's just the way I think, I guess, is that too often we give lip service to all of these things, but we don't really do anything. I was talking to a friend recently who's involved in one of the nonprofits here, and she said, well, we need volunteers. And I said, well, we all need more volunteers. She said, but we need someone who will volunteer to develop volunteers. A lot of people give lip service to these things. They've studied them. They're articulate. They get a lot done in their mind, but they're not really willing to step up and kind of do the everyday work of organizations. And I think that's the real test of a society and of a community. We do really well here on responding to emergencies. We do really well on supporting people who have had difficult times, a death in the family, that sort of thing. But the ongoing, day-to-day awareness of what's going on around us still escapes most of us all of the time. We have some crushing poverty on this island. We have some very, very difficult mental health issues, drug issues, homelessness issues. And it's real easy to write a check and say, thank you so much for the work you folks are doing, and walk away. So I guess in the spirit of the film we just saw, I'll challenge those of us here to do a lot more. Every single one of us, every single day. We're always either part of the solution or part of the problem, every single day. But thanks for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not often that I agree with Richard Nixon, but he said something really profound, I thought, in the eulogy that he delivered for Whitney, which was, it takes a very special sort to walk the talk and to, everybody's for something, but to actually accomplish what you're for, that's a whole other step. And, so to that end, we do have all sorts of literature handout, resources, ideas for action, etc. on the literature table, and then talk to any one of us. This is an ongoing conversation. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Swan Eagle, who does direct action by standing for the last almost 3 years, every Thursday at the corner of the Women's Health Vigil.
Thank you. One of the things that are of deep concern to me living here is the reality of racism. It's really something of utmost importance to me. I had to leave Eastern Washington, and my young daughter, whom a lot of people know, Taina, had the N-word sprayed on her school and was constantly harassed because she's mixed race. It became so impossible that we left. And this was Stevens County, known for pot growers and white supremacists. And I went to the militia meetings in the 90s because I figured it'd be harder to kill me as a race mixer if I talked to these people. And I was really amazed at the bridges that I was able to build. I mean, I had a friend send the police to check on me because he thought somebody might assassinate me because I was communicating with these this Stevens County militia. Some of them were Christian identity white supremacists. As a hippie committed to nonviolence, and nobody ever killed me, but what did concern me is my daughter's self-esteem. And so my son, who's here tonight with my grandson, Adrian, who has his own story to tell of dealing with racism, since this is Black History Month, he found a place for us to house sit on Sylvan Beach. And Taina did really well here. and worked everywhere from Cafe Luna to Bob's to the pizza place to the Minglement before she went on to Western. And I have been an outsider because I had mixed race children and I never got married. So I grew up in the I became a young adult in the margins. I saw tremendous violence and alcoholism when I was growing up, and tremendous hypocrisy in the context of the Catholic Church. And I was very drawn to the civil rights movement, the bulk of which had been accomplished before I became active. But the thing that has really struck me about being on Vashon is the incredible access to help that's available to people. Because I do not work within the context of the system, it's hard for me to get help because I don't fit the norm, and I have trouble working with nonprofits because I see too many marginalized people who fall through the cracks. And my greatest work and my greatest education has been with traditional Navajo and Hopis resisting the largest coal mine in North America at one time, Peabody Coal, in northeastern Arizona. And it was working with traditional people that I started to see how insidious and widespread the racism was, and how entire groups of people are completely shut out of the realm of the power brokers. And traditional people herd sheep, chop wood, haul water, grow corn. Well, their lands are being taken away. And this way of life is made illegal. And it's illegal in eastern Washington now to have an outhouse. It's a matter of time before they track down the thousands of people that have them. I think we need to really look at what capitalism has done, what colonialism has done, what settler mentality has done, and to realize there are millions of Native American people, there are millions of African American people, millions of impoverished white people who have no voice anywhere in the context that we're familiar with. And those are the people who have my heart. And I became one of those people because it was such a shame to have children and not be married. I found it easier to commit to my children than to abusive men with alcohol and drug problems. And the thing that I think is very important about Vashon is that there's an awareness in this community that's unusual, but it also is an enclave of white privilege. And people are used to being around certain kinds of people and being in that comfort zone. And I really would like to see that pushed further to be more inclusive. Because one of the things that's happened, because I came here in 1976 when my son was a little boy, and to look at a place to rent. And as soon as the older woman saw my son, she would not talk to me anymore, she would not rent to us. And that was in 1976. In 1985, I brought Pauline Whitesinger here to speak, who is one of the leaders of the nonviolent resistance against the largest forced relocation against Native Americans since the 1800s. And she spoke here and she told me it was sacred here. I was one of the people who did the actions to stop Glacier. I did civil disobedience 3 times. I was a granny in the bunch with all these wonderful young people. And it's the first civil disobedience I've done, which up with Joy Goldstein, I've probably been arrested about 12 times, where it worked. And I really think one of the things we could do on Vashon that would push our comfort zone is to consider returning the land that was won from Glacier to the Shomamish people who've been incorporated into the Puyallup and Nisqually people, at least a portion of that. And I think that the crushing poverty that Emma is talking about is something that all of us need. We could be a role model for the world. There's many things Vashon is known internationally for. Its gay-friendly atmosphere has made it a place of note in this country. And I think we could further that. And I would like to see awareness go further than token gestures, but actually into incorporating the stories of the people who are never heard, even in our own community. And with that, my son's going to sing an a cappella song.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't know what I was getting into exactly. So she had asked me to speak, and I left my guitar kind of in a little bit of rest. So excuse me for not being here for the whole thing. But anyway, my mom's been a great inspiration over the years, and growing up, being, coming from a Caucasian on one side, and my father being African American, having his heritage, and just being in a position in my life where really at a certain age, when I was about my son's age in Eastern Washington, I had never really thought about race. And one day, all these kids I grew up with kind of started reminding me what the deal was, and I was like, not really, I'd never been, called names like that, never been in that kind of situation, but it changed my life, and it was always a blessing to experience not only on the white side of my reality, but also on the black side of my reality, having my uncle or different people let me know that I was a white guy too, right? So on either side, and so at some point for me, race just broke down completely because I had no, because I talk like, if you hear me on the phone, you're not gonna be able to even get a good visual, I don't think, of really who I am, and for me, race is something I think on the planet right now, we have an opportunity to create a world where there's an abundance for everyone. And I hope in my life that I can teach my children how to cultivate positive community and inspire people to break down the illusions of separation, because race pulls you into another zone, but it's like separating yourself from all of creation. It's like anything you do in this life with religions, with race, with any of that, it creates these separations, but ultimately we're one with everything. What we're not our sisters, our brothers, the closer you are with your family, the things you know, it's such an infinite universe that we live in, and as a musician, I've been able to be really able to be inspired to tap into that with art and the creativity around me, and being able to meet incredible actors and poets, and my mom exposed me to a lot of incredible things, and so what I've cultivated in my life is a real, over the years, about the last 10 years, I've really got to know the state of Washington. I've spent my life, I was born in Seattle, I grew up in the mountains of Eastern Washington, and I've spent different parts of my life out here on Vashon, and the love of my life that I have a child with, she grew up out here, and she's 4th generation Vashon Island, and I feel like the real reminder for me is, over the years, it's just been able to get closer to the land, connect with traditional people, and ultimately, being exposed to indigenous ways of life, just being able to take the golden nuggets that you find, to find that universal thread of truth that everybody can resonate with, right? So I've tried to do that with my music. I've played at over 40 colleges here in Washington State consecutively over the years, played with original members of Heart for a couple years, went to Alaska, and been able to perform for all kinds of different situations. And for me, every time I come to that situation, what's so beautiful about music is because we can take people into another realm. And I think art and creativity can be a big part of that, but also just laying down an inspirational life that's about building, because what we need on this planet more than anything is being able to just create those networks. And I think in business, and once everything's interconnected, and you realize how you separate yourself from any one thing, that's where we have a problem, really. It's like everybody in the world needs to be unified because we're all connected. Just like when you see a tiger or you see a wild animal, you love it. You see a tree, you love it. You know, everything that we can love, we should love. So with that, I'll stop. So I don't have a guitar, but I'll recite one of my favorite songs. And I feel like the environment and what was really inspirational about seeing my mom come to Vashon and seeing her be in Eastern Washington in the mountains for many years and really struggling, but living beautifully, living in the woods, being able to live pretty simple, but with some of the amenities lacking. But being able to come to Vashon and see her be able to plug into the passion, which is standing up for the earth, and that whole thing that happened with Glacier, it was about preserving places for the salmon and the orca, things we love. Who can't love these and beautiful things? And why not, at this point in the reality, take care of everything as best as we can? So with that, this song is called Mother Nature. So long, 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 so long, 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 she's been crying to you. I remember the waves crashing on the seashore, so long, long before the polluted skies, I can hear her crying. Mother Nature's crying. Mother Nature's crying. Her children are trying. Mother Nature's crying. Her children are trying. So many questions. Too many questions. Where are the answers when we need them to be found? How can we ever learn? Will we ever know? Will we ever know the solution? Mother Nature's crying. Oh, too many dying. Mother Nature's crying. Our sons, our daughters, planted by the rivers of water, let these seeds we sow, I say we pray to let them grow into the fruits of tomorrow. We feel no pain, we know no sorrow, for these gifts that we receive come to make us believe in the powers of the universe. The powers of the universe. Well, it's a hidden beauty under ice and snow. Grow when we go and you don't know. Well, it's a hidden beauty under ice and snow. Grows when we go. And you, we've all got to know. One world, she's crying. For too many try. For too many cry. For too many lie. Lie down in the face of the front fight. Everybody's got to find. We're living in a new day. Mother Nature is crying. little improv for you a little bit. But thank you. One thing I'd like to say that was really cool, and I'll just leave you with one of the things that was really inspirational about, just seeing the magic of what Vashon has and the potential to be able to just be a good place for people from all over the world to be able to experience if they come to Seattle. And what ended up happening when she got involved with Glacier that was really neat is she ended up on the cover of the PI on one of the last publications that came out. So that was really neat. And she was in a kayak, and so that was really neat. Thank you.
Thank you. So does anybody have any last things to say? I mean, what struck me is that the parallels between what Whitney Young had to face and go through, the challenges, and what Obama has to face and go through in the challenges before him. It just became really clear to me, we do not live in a post-racial society yet. Yeah, Jean.
Adrian, and to your son, I hope that you will be able to get a copy of this film, which we provided, so that particularly your son can be connected with his heritage, because there's a wonderful person that basically was doing much of what his grandmother has done, what you have done, and it's a really, really. I have grandchildren who have Native American heritage, and I try to connect them with things that happen with the Native American people and say that those of us that are Caucasian are not. We can't. Those of us who come from a European lineage cannot say that we were really natives to this land like my grandchildren can, because they actually had a connection. You folks have a wonderful connection that goes way, way back, that is enriching the fabric of our society. And thankfully, things are better than they were. We have a long way to go. And this is a really, really, really powerful film, and I just think of how amazing it is that people can vanish from our history, vanish from our knowledge of what went before, and it's so relative to everything that's happening today to learn from history. And the history is just like it's been erased. And people are trying to recreate the wheel in some cases, not even aware of the tools they have from those who have gone before. We know about Martin Luther King a little, and even that is slowly going out of so many people have been born since these things have happened. And those of us who were here are getting older. And I hate to say that I wasn't even as aware as I wish I could have been in the 60s of everything that was happening. But I want to thank you for a wonderful evening, and just how did we share it with more people?
Thank you, Jane. And yeah, with that, like I said, if anybody wants to take observation about the bill, we have time for that. But, oh, yeah.
Sorry to be monopolizing the mic here, but I was just inspired by our brother to share a little song also. There's a middle part that has no words because it's all orchestrated, but it's along the same lines. It's called song for the earth. Let us sing a song for the earth. Let us sing a song for the sky. Let us sing a song for her creatures. And let us sing a song for you and I. Let us sing a song for the earth. Let us sing a song for the sea. Let us sing a song for her people to be strong. And let us sing a song for the trees. Let us sing a song for the earth. Let us join together, sing a song. Or before long, it'll be too long. Let us sing a song for the earth. And that means getting together and doing something with one another.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. And our next film will be the 26th of March. Wonder Woman, the Untold Story of American Superheroine. It's great.